Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the high priest of Midian. He led his flock at the back of the desert and came to Mount Horeb, the mountain of God. In other contexts, the Mount of Horeb is also called the Mount Sinai, the Mount of Covenant with Moses when he was able to lead God's people out of Egypt. And so Moses was there. And in the past 40 years of his life, he was educated in the great universities of Egypt as a military and as a political leader. Now Moses, after 40 years of his life, is now tending to the sheep or to the flock of his father. God uses these instances or these experiences in Moses' life to teach him valuable lessons of character development. And before that, when he was just a small boy, when he was just even a baby, there was a decree by Pharaoh to destroy all the firstborn. And so his parents hid him and eventually made a basket so that he will be hidden in the rivers of the water. That's why when the princess or the daughter of Pharaoh found him, his name was called Moses, drawn out from the water. What is interesting to understand is how Miriam asked the princess to take care of the baby, because she knows of somebody who could take care of the baby the princess found. And so Miriam cunningly asked, and she allowed Moses to be with his real mother, Jochebed, in the early years of his life. You know, friends, a mother has a great influence towards the destiny of the child. The character of the child is molded, guided, directed by his own mother. And so Moses was there. Fast forward 40 years after that experience, Moses was there. And the Bible says that God would like to appear to Moses. And he appeared in a supernatural, unusual way by means of the flame in the fire in the midst of the bush. And as Moses looked, as he turned aside to look, because God wanted to be discovered, God wanted to be noticed by Moses, Moses looked and saw the fire in the midst of the bush. What is interesting is that the bush was burning, but it was not consumed by the fire. A supernatural occurrence in the life of Moses. This tells you and me, dearly beloved, that when God wanted your attention, that when God wanted you to listen, He will use supernatural ways. A fire, a flame that does not consume the bush. Maybe in your life, God would like to get your attention. And you have not turned aside whatever is in your heart. You have not turned aside whatever is in your mind. And God wanted to call you. And God wanted to talk to you. And God would like to say to you, hey, listen to me. Are we listening to God's voice? And so Moses was there. And then we turn aside. God begins to call his name, Moses, Moses. And I like what Moses answered. Moses answered and said, "Here I am." Moses showed the heart of willingness. Moses showed the heart of humility from years of experience, from years of humiliation, from years of experiencing humility, humbleness by the grace of God in his life. "Here I am," was the response of Moses. And so Moses was there listening and telling to God. And God said to him, "Moses, I have a plan for you. I called you to lead my people from the slavery of bondage." Moses has 5 objections. 5 objections to the true God. 5 objections to the supernatural God who showed himself to Moses. Isn't that true, dearly beloved? That sometimes, even though the obvious is there, that God has displayed his presence, that God has displayed his power, that God has displayed his preeminence, we would object to God's will in our lives. I have that in my experience. I object sometimes, many times, to the will of God, to the God who speaks that he is calling me according to his will. And so Moses, in the discourse of the Holy God, after putting away his sandals, he said, "Lord, oh Lord God, who am I to be the leader? Who am I?" The first objection of Moses was his identity crisis. And God allows you to have identity crisis just like he allowed Moses to have identity crisis. And God values your identity because when God calls, he qualifies you, whoever you are. Identity was the first objection of Moses. But God offered the solution. "I will be with you." Amen. Isn't that a great statement from the Word of God? That God will be with us. "I will be with you, Moses. I will be with you wherever you go." The solution to our identity crisis today is that God will be with you. But Moses was not fully convinced to lead out God's people out of Egypt. Tens of thousands of them, or in fact probably millions of them already in Egypt. And he objected the second time and he said, "Who are you?" Isn't that very amusing? That after God showed himself in the flame, in the fire, burning the bush without consuming the bush, Moses would say, the second objection, "Who are you?" And God has to make a statement. God has to declare, just like Jesus when he first came, he declared, "I am who I am. I am the God of Abraham. I am the God of Isaac. I am the God of Jacob. I am your God. I am who I am, the powerful I am." And Moses was trembling. But he was not yet satisfied. He offered a third objection to God. The third objection is recorded in the book of Exodus, as well as in the book of Exodus chapter 3, verse 4, which is also very common. Or by the way, before that, the second objection of Moses is he is unsure of the divine authority. We're living in a time where there is no absolute except for the rationality of men. But I would like to tell you today that God is showing himself to the power of nature, that he alone is absolute, that God is absolute. His authority is absolute.